No, well, I just got to get this going, and once I get it going, then the rest of it is history. It doesn't matter. So yeah. So
could you say that again?
what is going on? My watch is really exciting there. You know, it really wants to talk. Siri on my watch is just going nuts. But it's boy, this Apple Watch is an amazing thing. It's absolutely an amazing thing, and I would love to get the new one. I'd like to get that 7.0 watch. Why not? You know, if it's available. And here they'll have it, and they will sell it here in Thailand. But as far as to get back to your question regarding my time thing, I just work in the evenings instead of the in the day, and I have the whole day for myself. So the way I look at it, no matter how late I stay up at night, it doesn't matter, because when I wake up in the morning, I'm never going to miss a day, because even if it's after hours, like if it's important, people will take your call up to 10 o'clock at night if they want to speak to you. It's only if they want to speak to you. If they don't want to speak to you, no matter what time of day or night, they're not going to answer your phone call. I've got plenty of people like that you call them up and you never get them on the phone for whatever reason until they need you. And then all of a sudden, it's amazingly easy on how you could get them on the phone. As a matter of fact, they're calling you. Well, I found out when somebody needs something from me, they have no hesitation whatsoever about calling me whenever it is they want to call me, as many times as they want to talk to me. And I'll tell you one thing that's really interesting. If we and Tina will vouch for this, if we make a mistake in the pricing on SoundBroker, and let's say something's supposed to be 10,000 and we leave out a zero and it's 1,000, the phone starts to ring off the hook and the people become belligerent. They just say, I need to talk to him. I need to talk to him right now. I want to buy it. I want to buy it right now. I got to buy it. Well, and we get messages on, like they'll blow up. Tina, am I telling the truth or what? Oh, I guess I'm not. Tina's not there. Well, whatever. But no, that's really a fact.
That's what happens.
Yeah, they just get belligerent with us. Yeah, they just get belligerent.
It's that you advertised it, so it must be done mentality, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like
finding going in the department store and you find something mismarked, and you bring it right to the cashier. Oh, you want to buy this right away, right? They're excited about finding something incorrectly marked that they're going to get a great bargain on.
That's right. That's exactly correct. That's you're 100% correct. Anyway, welcome everybody to the RoundTable. SoundBroker presents the RoundTable. I'm your host, Jan Landy. I think. I know I'm Jan Landy. I'm not sure if I'm your host. Anyway, Ken Newman at this time would come in and say,
"I think we're on the air, Jan."
We're live. We're broadcasting live to Facebook, YouTube, and wherever other quality outages take place. Anybody affected by the Facebook outage? WhatsApp, YouTube, whatever. It wasn't YouTube. It was Facebook, Instagram, Oculus, and what Facebook? I guess right. Did I say that all right?
Facebook, was anybody WhatsApp, and Instagram.
And Oculus, yeah. And, living here in Thailand right now, WhatsApp is like crucial. Nobody uses the phone here, the cell lines. Basically, everybody's calling everybody on WhatsApp. It's huge. And I hear in other countries, such as Malaysia, that's the main source of their communication. Whereas here in Thailand, they have multiple VoIP numbers, such as Line and the Google Hangouts and WeChat. Sometimes, I mean, in China, WeChat's more prevalent than it is here. But then, people, when you give them your cell phone number here, they prefer not to call you on a cell phone. They want to call you on either Line or WhatsApp. So when it went down, it was really devastating to a lot of people. Plus all those people that are really dependent on seeing how many likes they get on Facebook and YouTube. And I don't know why I keep saying YouTube, but Instagram. I mean, and of course that whole thing is, by the way, everything you hear today is an opinion. So if you want to check the facts, any way you want. Just don't take our word for it. Just do your own research. Okay. So whatever you hear today. Okay, and those are the only rules. And welcome everybody. So, I gotta just say this. So they find out now that Instagram is affecting young girls. And and TikTok is affecting young girls. And you wonder how that's possibly happening until you look at it and you see that the people, the good looking women, they've got zillions and zillions of likes, zillions of likes. And the average looking women, or the average looking people in total, we won't just say women, we'll say average looking people, not so much. I mean, I'll put up a really interesting video and I'm lucky if I get 2 or 3 likes and how many people look at it. But you see that if a hot looking babe puts up that same exact video, it would be off the hook how many likes they get. So, and if you're younger, you maybe judge your popularity by how many likes you get. And so that can really, and plus some of these people are just spotless gorgeous. I mean, is anybody following anybody on Instagram or YouTube, or Facebook or any of the other media services? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have no interest at all.
Well, David, after the show, I'll have to let you watch some of my TikTok videos, and you will see what I'm talking about.
No, I have an Instagram account because my daughter has an Instagram account, and I used to follow her until she got over 18, and I haven't been on it since. But that's because I'm of a certain demographic. But I do flip through TikTok every once in a while.
There's
So I know
nothing
what you're
wrong
talking
with
about, Jan.
Instagram. Instagram is a sort of more friendly medium, if you ask me, than Facebook, and so it's less conflict going on there, it seems.
Well, the question is how much time could we spend on Facebook and Instagram and all these different media services? Like, I find myself posting more than I find myself looking at it, And then when I do, I find it's much easier on the phone because I'm just flipping and flip and flip and flip. And then if I like it, I click the heart button and like the videos. But it doesn't, one of the things that seems to, bother me about that is that somebody gives you some really bad news. And you want them to know that you looked at it. So you give them that I like your post. But in reality, you feel sorry for them, but you're still giving them, a like rather than saying, hey, sorry, you're dying of cancer right now.
That's all you can do on there.
Well, on Facebook, they got the sad face with the tears or whatever now.
Of course, on Facebook, but on Instagram, not so much.
No. Yeah, they're talking about doing that on Instagram, but haven't seen it yet.
But who has time for that? Who has time really to look for the different, especially on a smaller surface like a phone, if you're doing that, But anyway, that's kind of interesting because they're going to be going through Congress. And I have a feeling that what we know of Facebook and Instagram and all the social medias their apple cart could definitely be upended. It just seems to me it's like with the Apple Store. There was nothing before the Apple Store. They created the Apple Store. They gave all of these people opportunities to make thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And now that the Apple Store is so prevalent, now people say, well, you know what? We don't want to pay you anymore to be in the Apple Store. We want to be able to do it without the Apple Store. And I just think that that's so unfair, What are your opinions on that?
Wait, what are you talking about, Jan, about the Apple Store? Who's saying what?
Well, before there was the
Apple Store? Is that what you're saying?
Well, Epic, who makes Fortnite, Epic makes Fortnite, sued Apple, saying, "Hey, we don't want to pay you. We don't want to really pay you for being on your Apple Store. We want to be able to get all of the money." Apple takes 30% for being on the Apple Store. And so in the Apple environment and Google Play Store, because you can't really go and you can't go to the Epic website and buy Fortnite. You just can't do it. So you have to, and they can't put a link so when you're buying extra things that you don't have to go through the Apple Store. And so they sued Apple, and they won in one way and they lost in another. But the reality is that, but what I'm saying is that before there was the Apple Store, there was no way for these guys to get the development onto a device.
Yeah, wait.
know,
So let's
they
be
created it.
clear. You're not talking about the brick and mortar Apple store at the mall. You're not talking about that store. You're talking about the online app store for the applications, right?
That's correct. Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
talking
It
about.
was quite a different entity, but yeah. Okay. Got
And
it.
now they want to say, hey, well, it's a monopoly, you know, but the reality, it's like Facebook. There was nothing before. I mean, there was nothing before Facebook except maybe MySpace, and Facebook just captured the imagination, got it out there. Instagram, they became big from capitalization, and now there are people that want to take it away from them and saying Facebook's too big.
Well, you know what really needs to change. I mean, those things are all in those companies' minds. Those are all reasonable complaints. But what really needs to change, if you ask me, is the money amounts, the dollar amounts that are being paid to creators, like musical creators, for their creations to be played on streaming services. Those streaming services pay so little for those creations, also known as songs. It's just, unimaginable by standards that were set hundreds of years ago. It's really bad what they're doing to songwriters and other creators. It's just horrible.
Well, that started with NAFTA. Not was it NAFTA? Yeah, it was no, not
Napster?
NAFTA. Napster. That's when it started from Napster. But let's go around the room. How many people are actually buying music compared to streaming it on either YouTube Music, Amazon Music? I guess there's no Facebook Music.
Can't imagine anybody
the
buys music
Spotify.
anymore, Jan. Nobody buys music anymore, right, Chris?
I'm streaming it.
Streaming, that's all there is. What about you, Kurt? Do you buy any music?
Only if I need a certain thing for a certain corporate client on a certain gig.
All right,
Yeah.
gotcha. Right.
Song if I need 8 seconds of it for somebody's walk on, but other than that, not really.
Yeah, I mean it's music now. It's hard for the publishers. It's hard for the artists to make money. So now, but it's good for us in our business because it forces the artist to go on tour. It forces them to go out and sell merchandise. Sell T-shirts for $40 that cost them $1.50.
It's the only way they can make money now, but it's not anything like it used to be. Like, think about artists or songwriters that have been writing songs since the 60s. People like, like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young or somebody like that. They're songwriters. That's what they do. They made millions for those songs that they wrote back in the 60s and then boom, dried up like a few years ago, right?
Yeah, what about that guy that wrote that song, I write the songs that make the whole world sing? What happened to that guy?
You know who that is? Bruce Johnson. Bruce Johnson is, not making any money from that anymore. But he wrote the songs that make the whole world sing. But he doesn't get any money for it anymore.
Yeah, I'll do a shout out to one of my friends, Terry Shattuck, who wrote "Physical," and he became a millionaire from that one song with Olivia Newton-John, and he still now gets royalty checks, but his royalty checks are by pennies compared to what he used to make, even though that song is still
literally
being used.
pennies. I bet they're literally pennies,
They are, and there's still that song is still very, very popular, and it gets a lot of endorsement. People are using it in campaigns and stuff, and he still can't hardly make any money from it, and just because of what's going on in regards to the way they're paying for streaming.
Yeah, how is that going to change? I sure wish it would change, and soon.
Well, I guess the best way to do it is, if you want to make money as a songwriter, is to go out and buy a Powerball ticket, because that jackpot, I think somebody just won $700 million. $700 million. Anybody in the room want to admit?
California.
Anybody in the room want to admit that they won it?
If I won it, Jan, I would not be here.
Would I be here, Jan?
Yeah, you would be here. What are you talking about? What are you doing it because you're poor? No, you're doing it because you love being here. I mean, I remember when in New York, I was living in New York, and you guys remember that? I don't know if it's still there because I haven't been in New York in a while, but do you remember the Silver Cup Bakery by the Brooklyn Bridge? I think it was by the Brooklyn Bridge, and all those lights. You remember that? Does anybody remember the Silver Cup sign? What was that?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so the one of the first lotteries, the guy that changed the light bulbs on that Silver Cup, he won the lottery, and he was interviewed, and they say, oh, is it going to change your life at all? And he says, oh, absolutely not. I love what I'm doing. I love changing the light bulbs. It's really a challenge, you know? And then I saw an interview with the guy a couple of weeks later saying, well, are you still working for the Silver Cup company? He says, absolutely not. He says, I won the lottery. I'm up changing the bulbs. I'm reaching over and I'm saying, what the hell am I doing up here? I'm a millionaire, you know, but the reality is there's a lot of people who win that lottery don't, you know, go through all of their money really quick or commit suicide from what I've read. I would like that opportunity though. So, you know, anybody win the lottery? Anybody ever win the lottery?
I won $4.
I got nothing. Bupkis.
I'll tell you a quick humorous story.
Antidote.
When we first moved to Las Vegas, Richard, who was working for me at the time, had got tickets to see a TV show being filmed of a poker game, you know? And so during the break, the MC came up, we're all sitting in the audience, and he's going around, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And for some reason, I don't know why I said this when he asked me what I did. I said, I'm a California lottery winner. And the place went wild. Yeah, they're applauding. They're going crazy, you know? And so the guy says, well, may I ask you how much you won? And I said, yeah, I won $5, but I gave it all back. And everybody broke up laughing, you know? So anyway, people like winners, even if it is for the lottery. So
I won the lottery. Myrna won I won the lottery for the Hamilton tickets at the Pantages. Myrna won them also. So we're picking up the tickets tonight for two friends who we're giving the tickets to.
Yeah, you know, well, you've been a big winner, David. You even won the Tony Roma rib eating contest. I believe.
Yeah, free ribs for a year.
So a friend of mine, a video director, Jim Boris, in case anybody knows him, Jim won a car at some casino like years ago. He won some kind of car. That was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, but then you got to pay the taxes on the car, you know?
He didn't seem to be bothered by that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I hope I would win the lottery so that way I could go and put my money, you know, in Panama, you know, with the Pandora Papers. Anybody have money over there? Any of you guys in this room have any money that was affected by the revelations of the Pandora Papers?
I'd rather not talk about
it. Hey, I got a question for you about the new media versus the conventional or traditional web page stuff. I mean, you're literally SoundBroker.com, but how has all of the other newer social media stuff affected the way you do business? Is it all still on the .com stuff, or is your communication shifting?
Well, okay, so SoundBroker's been around for 20-something years already, since 1997. And one of the biggest mistakes I made was not following the Jeff Bezos method of selling everything. So I just stuck, when I started, more or less the same time Amazon and eBay started. And of course, they're huge, and we are just, you know, we are industry specific. And, you know, I can't go up to space like Elon Musk can. And Jeff Bezos. By the way, before I get back to that, I just wanted to mention that. Did you hear that William Shatner is going up into space on the Blue Origin? Yeah, I mean, is that not cool?
At age 90, he'll be the oldest person having gone to space once he does it.
That is so cool, man. Going where other men have gone before. You know.
Yeah, so the question is, how's he going to pee? Come on, what 90-year-old doesn't need to pee every 20 minutes? So how's he going to pee?
I guess there'll be a tube. I guess I'm not going to want to.
I said that's what depends are for.
That's what I said.
Let's
but
put
I was
it this
wondering.
way.
It depends. Work in space.
Well, one would imagine that even without gravity, the little molecules would find their way into the gel or whatever.
Coagulate, huh?
Yeah, coagulate. That's the word we're looking for.
I think
fortunately, I don't have to worry about
it. Anyway, the real astronauts already wear them on the spacewalk.
Well, this is true.
Yeah. Unfortunately for me, that I won't have that problem because I won't be sitting next to him. Because I didn't win the lottery and I can't afford a ticket.
Is that if Jeff Bezos is doing his due diligence on this next launch, there will be a GoPro camera pointed at William Shatner. And just as they're getting ready to give the launch code, well, I guess, no, that's Patrick Stewart that would say engage. Wrong Star Trek captain. Never mind.
Well, he could steal it from, nobody would know the difference. Take the helm, take the helm, take the helm,
Yeah.
I always wish that I could type as fast as Scotty, come to the, but that was always amazing to me how people would believe that anyone could type that fast. But okay, so going back to the SoundBroker thing. So because we've been around so long, and there's a few things that Google still and all the search engines look for. Number one, they look for longevity. Two, they look for links back to other websites, how many links you have back to other websites. Plus, there's other secret sauce. So when somebody looks for something that's out on the websites in the world, and it's on our website, because we've been around so long, and all of these different factors that we've put inside the hidden stuff, the secret sauce on SoundBroker. When you look for something that we have, we come up in the first page. And that's really good, but that has changed a lot from us. Whereas there's not a lot of people looking for gear. I mean, it used to be that we would get more traffic than the average porno site, but that has changed. So, but yes, you need a web presence today. If you don't have a web presence, then you really don't even exist, because everybody will look for you. But when they're looking for gear, they're not looking for company names other than manufacturers. So if you were looking for, let's say, a Barco projector, you wouldn't just type in Barco projector. You would put in the model number of what you were looking for, and that's how it would come up. Because when you do web searches, if you're looking for something, you're very specific in your web search, and if you're not, you should be. And so that's why we pop up.
But are people still primarily contacting you through that portal, or are you getting more and more communication through Facebook and Instagram? That's kind of more. Well,
we're getting a ton of inquiry from Facebook, but it's usually just wasted time. I mean, it's people that are just reaching out to us for things that we don't have or want to deal with. That's most of it. Our number one input comes from referral and repeat business, and then we get it from Google, and we get the Google, the AOL searches, the Bing searches, and DuckDuckGo. But for the most part, it's Google. Google is people say, "Oh, I saw you on Google. I did a Google search and you came up." That's what I hear more than anything else. But that could be a generic thing. Because if you type something into the Safari search bar, you have a choice of what engine you want to go through. Same with the Chrome, you do have a choice, I believe. So, but Google is the number one. Google is the number one place where people find gear.
Does your Facebook and Instagram mirror the conventional website? So is the same data available? If you're looking for a Midas whatever, is it going to be? Do you find it on the Facebook page, or is it all that stuff only on the .com stuff?
Well, Tina is responsible for our social media, and she's in the background. And so Tina, why don't you tell them what you do with our social media?
I usually just put listings that people who want, who enhance their listing profile by one of our marketing offers. It doesn't mirror Facebook or everything doesn't mirror the social websites. It's just particular listings where people are motivated sellers or hot list or something that we find worthwhile placing on there for them to find us back. Because normally the hot list and the motivated sellers will bring people to look at other items that they may need or want, but it doesn't mirror. Everything's mostly on the website.
That's interesting. Yeah. To me, it's almost the opposite, but I'm more, I'm a provider. So I'm a service industry. Nobody ever comes to me and says, "Hey, I was looking at your website and we got this show, can you give me a quote?" It'll be, "I saw a Facebook post that a friend of mine sent or forwarded about a show you did," or "I saw your Instagram thing, hey, we need a PA in 2 weeks." So I get nothing out of having a website, and everything is switched to social media.
Well, you don't find more of your referrals. I mean, people who have done business with you, or people who have done business with before, referring other people to you.
Well, I get a lot of
that's
that. It's almost all word of mouth and relationships. But the stuff that comes in as a cold call never starts with "I saw your website." It always starts with "I follow you on Instagram," or "I was talking to a friend and they sent a link to a Facebook post of a show you did." Anything that isn't direct word of mouth or a pre-existing relationship. The cold call stuff never has anything to do with the website.
Right. Well, we're a little bit different because we're membership based. So you have to be a member to be able to buy from us. And so that's number one. And I would think that I would use more the Facebook and the Instagram post, just basically to get people to come to the website. But we're in a different thing. So we got like Ken Porter's in the room. So Ken, what about you? Where would you say your website presence comes in? Does Spectrum Sound have a website?
I have a website. It's most informational.
Sorry.
Okay.
50th anniversary.
My God, that is a scary song, boy. That is the most scary song. If you've ever, I was
a Ferris wheel. That's a Ferris wheel song, isn't it?
No, that's the Small World, isn't it?
Small World after all.
Okay.
That song is that song's a horror show,
Disney World, Disneyland.
That's my doorbell.
So Ken, talk to us.
50-year anniversary of Disney World.
And Disney put me in business. Disney was the one. Morris Leiter got me in business. If it wasn't for Disney, I might not have had the career that I've had today. But Ken, talk about your website.
So the website doesn't do much. Mostly information if somebody wants to know what I have, but most part, people that are cold calling are really not very. You really don't want to deal with them much because they don't know what they're looking for. They're usually looking for some rental for a school. Some wireless for a school that they don't know how to use. But most time it is relationships and word of mouth that we do most of the business with. Yeah.
And Steve, what about you? Do you have a website out there? Does the website?
Yeah, we do.
How does that affect your business?
Not a whole lot, like Ken said. Most of our business has always been repeat and word of mouth. That's you establish yourself and you do good work for people, they come back to you.
Yeah. That's what's going on with me. The website has just got some information more than anything else.
Right.
It never leads to sales.
Yeah, I would think that, well, mine's just the opposite. But from social media, it's very difficult for us to do things with social media. Even though if you go to soundbroker.com, there is a link that goes to our RoundTable, but basically most of the people that are inquiring on that, it's worthless time. It's just worthless time, to say the least. But there are industries out there, and especially if you're a local industry, like if you're local and you take advertising, you could spotlight the local market. So if you're a shoe store, you could specialize that, hey, you're a shoe store in that local market. But and I guess if you're a local sound company or a regional sound company, you could advertise on Facebook and Instagram so that you are getting those people that are in your marketplace. But when you're dealing B2B, I don't really see where the social media campaign or buying advertisement on that is a very valuable tool. I might be wrong about that, but we haven't advertised since 2013. 2003. I haven't taken an ad out. What about you guys? Is anybody advertising on Facebook, Instagram, any of the social medias? Anybody?
I just signed up for the Yellow Pages.
Yeah. What's the Yellow Pages?
Remember the big yellow book?
Like 1965 called and they want their Yellow Pages book back?
Telephone company.
Yeah.
There's now, I seem to remember receiving, at my house, I think, a new copy of the Yellow Pages.
Yeah.
And it's saying something about, this is the greatest Yellow Pages ever. Yeah, you're right. Whatever. Marketing.
It goes right.
What they're doing What they're doing with the yellow pages, because I've seen it before, is the way they're marketing it is they putting in coupons into the yellow pages. So if you get the yellow pages, the local businesses are buying coupons so that you say, hey, I've got this coupon and I'm going to, I saw it in the yellow pages. And that's how the yellow pages are staying in business. It's the local advertising that they're doing. You know,
but is the Yellow Pages exist online? I hope somebody at the Yellow Pages company figured that out.
At one point, I remember there was an app, or not an app. It was, you go to the yellowpages.com and you could look up via city. But man, it's had to have been at least 8 years since I've even looked at something like that. I use Yelp and Google to get most of everything.
Yeah, of course. But isn't that interesting? What a transition. I mean, 30 years ago, Yellow Pages was kind of all we had if we wanted to find a provider of some sort, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a production manager, I would go to, city XYZ and I would steal the Yellow Pages from whatever hotel room.
Yeah, that's right. We would steal the phone book out of the hotel, right? Yeah, that's right.
And I had stacks of hotel phone books for Phoenix, Vegas, Orlando, LA, places I'd be doing business. So if I was doing pre-production, I could flip through there and look stuff up.
Oh,
boy, those were the days. Huh? That was such a simpler time. But now
I was a bigger rat than that. What I would do is I would just rip the pages out of the yellow pages when I needed the numbers or something. And then when and the pay phone booths. What's pay phone booth anyway? So things are changing in the world. For example, there is now a herd of clever cattle in Germany. Did you hear about this? This German scientist is training cows. He's potty training cows because basically cows create a lot of methane. And so things are changing. Things are absolutely changing. If you now have cows, you can potty train them. That's pretty cool, I thought, Anyway, seems to me like right now that the shows are back. According to Polestar, quarter 3 of 2021 has given us more hope for the future than any quarter since. Shows are back at every level of the business: stadiums, arenas, sheds, clubs, festivals, all safety and running up. So it seems like there's a lot going on. I noticed that we are getting more and more phone calls and emails and inquiries and stuff like that. And I see that, like shows like Bruno Mars is in Vegas right now, and he's grossed $3 million. He sold 10,352 tickets on 2 shows at 100% capacity of 5,176 people, and ticket prices between $99 and $550. And so, I mean, I think we're coming back. So let's go around the room. How is everybody doing?
I got work coming up next week, which is always good.
Right.
Steve, what about you? Because I turned it down because I have work next week also.
Turned it down.
We got a little bit coming in. I mean, we're backed up with installs right now, waiting for equipment to get in. But we have a show leaving, I think, Monday to go out for a week. Other than that,
Ken,
not too much.
Ken, what about you?
I just got back from Anaheim. We did Harvest Crusade there and had like 35,000 people Sunday night. Pretty much I had one back and then leaving again Monday. And I'm pretty much nothing left in the warehouse.
That's really good. John, what about you? How you doing?
Things are coming back kind of slowly. I did my first freelance audio visual gig for the first time in about 1.5 years. One thing I noticed, so they say things are coming back, like say in this time, 2019, there might have been 100 events going on. Now, then last year there was 0, and now there's about 30, but you still have the same 500 people trying to get those events, so, I guess it could be better and it could be worse. Mostly could be better.
Kurt, what about you?
We're getting started again. I mean, I had a show yesterday. We've had a couple shows last week. There's starting to be stuff on the books. What he just said is right, though. It's there's a lot less than the same number of people trying to get it. And in this market, everything's become even more cutthroat than it was before. And it was pretty bad before. So all of the let's push road cases around and support our brothers thing went out the window in about 30 seconds as soon as people started booking shows again. Mm-hmm. And another interesting thing is, so yesterday morning we had our load in and one of the riggers showed up and didn't have a Vax card because he was an anti-vaxxer. They wouldn't let him in. They delayed the load in by over an hour while they found someone else to come in and take the place that had a Vax card.
Wow.
Well, we should tell everybody that you're in California and now they have all sorts of rules and regulations about California. I just read something about that California.
I'm not in California.
Oh, I thought you were. I'm sorry.
Seattle, you know that.
Seattle,
yeah, of course.
California
like.
Right.
California,
they're all moving here.
Well, I got all 3 of my vaccines, so if you need somebody that's vaccinated, be sure to let me know.
Ditto. But wait, so Kurt, you're saying was it a rigger or somebody that was really crucial?
One of the upriggers, and he used to work there all the time. And this was one of the first times that they stopped me in the truck at the dock, and I had to get out, go inside, get my temperature scan, show them my proof, my card, the whole deal. That's kind of a new thing. And when we were waiting around for one of the upriggers to show up to set our points, and the other guys at the rigging crew came in and told us what happened. And they just wouldn't let him in.
Interesting. Yeah, of course.
Wouldn't let him in.
That's fair. I mean, if that's their rule, that's their rule, right?
Yeah, well, and it's attached to, I don't know if this is relevant, but it's attached to where the Seahawks play. And they're on Thursday Night Football this week. So there were all these NFL people loading in and setting up, right adjacent to us. And NFL is incredibly strict about everything within a day or two of the show. So I don't know if it's because of the NFL, but it had not happened before. And fortunately, they found somebody else and got them there in about an hour. But we all stood around for an hour waiting for points.
Now it's New York City's that way for sure. LA is that way. You've got to have a Vax card if you want to work.
It's fine with me. I just did not had that one happen yet. So that was
kind of started testing the Vax people too now and coming into shows.
Who knows?
We didn't have to get swabbed or anything. We just had to do the temperature check.
No, they're now starting everybody on a tour has to be a rapid test every morning if you have Vax card or not.
Wow. Well, then what's the point of the vaccine?
Well, remember, when we originally heard about the vaccine, if I recall correctly, and probably speaking out of turn, and once again, these are opinions, not facts, but I seem to remember hearing that the vaccine was kind of make us less susceptible to even getting the virus. Mm-hmm. And then, as time went on, they learned that, oh, wait, it's not going to keep you from getting it, but when you get it, it will be less bad, less effective on you than if you did not have the vaccine.
Well, you won't die. That's what they're saying. You won't die.
Right. That's a little more effective. So anyway, so they kind of changed their tune, and that just gives the anti-vaxxers that much more ammunition for not getting vaccinated.
You're still less likely to get it with the vaccine. Much less likely to get it.
Are you sure? I haven't heard anything to that effect lately.
Everybody who's got it, they're all not vaccinated.
Yeah, I mean, right now in the news, just before we came on the air, there was a story that and I'm looking for it right now. The man at the center of the ivermectin, that's the horse deworming thing. He was suing
Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan.
No, this is a guy in Ohio. We'll put the link up. Man at the center of the ivermectin lawsuit dies of COVID-19. So, I mean, there's a guy, so an Ohio man whose spouse filed the lawsuit to have a hospital administrator give him ivermectin as he was fighting, so the guy's dead now because they gave him the ivermectin and not what he wanted, the monoclonal treatment. And the guy's, he's gone. So one less moron out there,
It's absolutely what I find incredible about that is that doesn't stick. Like if I was against getting the vaccine or against this whole virus thing, I would say, well, that's pretty eye-opening. When you hear a story like that all these stories that we hear are eye-opening. But I guess people don't believe these stories or something.
They don't believe these stories because right now the U.S. is now over 700,000 people that have died. That's greater than the population of Boston. You know, the last 100,000 deaths occurred during a time when vaccines, which were overwhelmingly prevalent, that could save people from dying, they're not taking it. You know, so it's like, you know, what, you know, the reality is that if they're not taking it, if they're not taking something that'll save their life, they don't believe it. On their guy's deathbed, he didn't believe that he was dying of COVID. He just couldn't believe it, you know, and there's more and more stories like that all the time. But there is some good news, you know. I believe that Pfizer, and I think David was the first person to tell me about this, that Pfizer now has a pill coming out, and I think that's really gonna change things. And what I'm about to say, I can't even believe I'm about to say, but Trump went on and said, I have 2 Pfizer shots and I'm going to get my booster shot. So he actually went public to say that he's actually doing that. That might help, you know, because, you know, but anything that will help will be a good thing, no matter who says it.
Yeah, but my freedoms, Jan, my freedoms. You
Well,
taking
yeah,
away
your
my freedoms? Yeah, I mean, do I need my freedoms?
Well, basically, you know, California just said now every student has to be vaccinated for COVID-19, you know? And so, you know, there's a reason that you want to stay alive. I mean, you know, so you got, you know, which would you rather have, freedom or, you know, I guess give me freedom or give me liberty or give me death. I guess, you know, it's that old Patrick Henry thing, you know? And where is that guy now? He's dead. You know, so what good is his freedom?
Now they mean it literally. Give me freedom or give me death.
We just had
or give me freedom and give me death. Or give me freedom.
We just had a woman die from the blood clot thing after getting the J&J. So now, depending on what media outlets you're paying attention to, it's being completely covered in 2 different directions.
Yeah. Well,
I often have to remind both myself and other people about this, that it's all about the percentages. Yeah, sure. Plenty of people are dying from this vaccine, right? Plenty of people. You would be surprised at the numbers. Plenty of people have really bad side effects from it. I was surprised at the numbers myself. But the point is, those numbers are nothing compared to the number of people that are dying from getting the virus, and because they're not vaccinated. So it's all about the odds. You're just trying to increase the odds of living. That's all, right?
Yeah. Well, this whole thing has permeated our society. Like, for example, Delta now has banned over 1,600 unruly passengers, and it wants to share its banned list with all the other airlines, you know? And so, like, I'm reading articles now that flight attendants are taking, you know, self-defense training. And it's crazy.
I'm going to Infocom. Maybe I ought to take some self-defense training, too.
You know, I mean, it's like... And I hear that, you know, that sitting in the front of house position, that people, if you're wearing a mask, people are coming and berating you. Has anybody seen that?
Hasn't happened to me, but I know 2 or 3 people that it has happened to.
Well, tell me more about that, Kurt. Like, when you say it has happened to them, what has happened?
They get yelled at. They get stuff thrown at them.
Because they're simply wearing a mask, or were they telling someone else to put on a mask?
No, just wearing the mask. They get taunted. They get yelled at. I got a friend who had like a drink thrown at him, and it landed and hit him and splashed all over the console like 2 minutes before showtime. Didn't crash the death.
Holy jeez! Oh, that's incredible.
Well, I mean, Ken Porter, what are you hearing? Ken, what do you? Because you're in the area of where people don't necessarily believe in masks. What's going on in your neck of the woods with masks in front of house positions? Are you hearing anything?
It's been pretty decent. I haven't heard any problems about that. But more of, if you watched NASCAR and football this weekend, you have chants in the crowds of F Biden going on, and the news people are trying to spin it to "We love you, Brandon," you know, something like that. Brandon's number 1 or whatever. So they're trying to spin what they're saying, and they're trying to edit out any audio of the crowd noise now.
Yeah, well, you've got people like Jason Aldean doing crazy stuff, like having his 3 years old getting political. But we don't want to go down that route. There is one thing that I do want to talk to you about, and Steve mentioned it earlier about he's doing installs and he can't get gear. And what I'm seeing right now is that all of the manufacturers, all of them that I'm dealing with, have sent me notices that they're raising their prices. And for example, Allen Heath raised their prices, I believe it's 20%, and they can't deliver till after January. What are you guys seeing? What are you guys seeing out there as far as buying new gear, replacing your used gear, or even what's going on with the gear that you have right now? Like Ken, you're saying that everything is out of your warehouse. How are you replacing it? What are you doing?
That's kind of hard. I'm renting stuff. Right now, you can't get electrical breakers until manufacturers are stuck because they have electrical breakers, connectors, Hubble's hard to get stuff. Wire's gone up 20-25%. Plywood's been running up pretty sizable, 30-40%. Aluminum extrusion's running about 20% higher than it was a couple months ago. So everything's getting harder. It's just when stuff can get shipped in and time wise and what's coming over. I needed a phenolic, a hex grip plywood that I use for cases, for some cases. And the importer basically said, I can't take an order until October, and who knows when I'll be able to deliver it because it's coming from Finland, Russia. So, it's around. You just got to, to the point is you got to kind of scream and holler to hit numbers, there at a certain time or make people aware that this is a problem and when we need to get it done. But that's kind of what's going on.
In California, of course, we just had that oil spill. And so they started talking about it. And they said that there's such a backlog of ships, cargo ships trying to unload. There are 1 million containers off the coast of LA right now, waiting to be unloaded. 1 million containers.
And the reason why
wait a second. And why is that? They not enough longshoremen or whatever?
The drivers, they don't have the people to do it. I don't know. They said it's going to take months and months for them to catch it.
There's a couple of reasons for it. I live in San Pedro, so I can look out my window and see 80 ships sitting in the water. Okay. Part of the main reason is there's a shortage of the little dollies that they sit the containers on that the trucks drive off on. There's a shortage of those. Another reason is the shipping companies have come up to the conclusion that it's cheaper to unload the container and just let it sit there in the harbor forever and buy a new one than it will be to return the old one. So now there's no place to put the containers that come in. I was suggesting they should start charging storage fees for all these shipping containers and then watch them disappear real fast. But they're piling up everywhere I turn my head, I see, a mile high stack of shipping containers empty, just sitting there. And I see about 80 ships outside the port waiting to get in. And a couple of them are jabbing their anchors into these oil pipes and stuff like that. Yeah. But they say the main reason is there's no trailers to put the containers on, followed by, the fact that the port only works 5 days a week and they only have 2 shifts. And, and a couple other reasons like that. But those are the main reasons. But I wish you could just grab a boat and, find out what container you're on and go over the ship and just get the stuff out yourself. But that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
I told Digico what they ought to do in order to ship, because they're having problems getting stuff on planes too there. So I ought to rent a cruise ship and organize everybody who's got stuff on order that they fly to Scotland, and then they pick up their consoles and take them on the cruise ship, and then you sail back across to New York or whatever with your console.
Hey, that might work, because we got a couple of cruise ships that have just been sitting there empty for the last couple of months in the harbor. So.
And what I'm hearing right now, Ken? Because that would be amazing if they actually did something like that after your suggestion.
I'm not sure they did. I got to go get my granddaughter, but I'll be back in a little bit.
Okay. Anyway, the reality is that I just saw an article on, I believe it was NPR, that they're saying that the toy manufacturers right now are in trouble because they don't think they're going to be able to have enough toys for Christmas, and they're recommending this could be an advertising ploy that they're recommending people buy their toys now so that they would have enough toys for Christmas. And the other thing is that I hear that a shipping container used to be like $4,000, and now the Chinese are charging $20,000 for a shipping container to get here. So it's getting crazy.
No.
I'll sell you one for 16,000.
There you go. I'll take two at that point. You know, just remember, you can't believe everything you hear. You got to do the research. I guarantee I'm not buying two of them, though. I will tell you that right now. But going back to the gear situation, what I'm finding right now is the used gear market is really shrinking because basically everybody's holding on to what they've got because they don't know when they're going to get the new stuff. And the people that I am finding the gear from that are contacting me saying, I want to sell this are people that are done. They're saying, I don't want to do this anymore. My hands are up. I will sell everything. I just had somebody from New Orleans. He'll go unmentioned. It's not Steve. I will say that. And he has decided I can't take it anymore. After Hurricane Ida, he says, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I am liquidating everything that I've got. And, so that's what and those guys, the material that they have becomes super valuable out in the real world because people want this stuff and they can't buy it new. So, because if you were going to buy a console right now, it's back ordered. Steve, what are you finding the back order is? I'm finding, like, for example, Allen Heath back ordered till January. I don't know what Digico is. I know you can't buy any Yamaha. I know you can't buy any Midas. What do you? What's going on? What other lines are you seeing that are back alive?
Yamaha consoles are what's going to hold me up on like 4 different projects right now because we're not going to see them till next year. Yeah. And white flush mount 70-volt speakers. That's kind of hard to find right now too.
What, generic ones or like Bose brand? Or
QSC,
anything.
Tannoy, so that you can't get them.
I literally
How interesting.
just now got an email about a small casino project we're working on with QSC speakers and some amplifiers that we needed, all 70-volt stuff. And they're telling me the earliest possible
late November.
Date, March 8th, 2022.
Oh, wow.
For the amplifiers.
Oh, how does that sit with your clients? What do your clients say when you tell them that?
I just found out. So I'll find that out tomorrow.
I mean, I guess a knee-jerk reaction from a client would be they're going to find a different vendor and they're going to go to somebody else.
The reason I asked was because this is the first time is this client actually said, okay, the budget got approved, we're a go. Can you give me any idea if there's going to be any supply line issues? So the client is already expecting bad news. They just want to know how bad.
Yeah. And by the way, it's not just our industry. It's every industry. Yeah,
I can't get artichoke hearts at Trader Joe's, man. Come on. We need artichoke hearts.
Yeah, I mean it's all sorts of different manufacturers or no matter what it is, because the semiconductor chips are hard to come by. So whatever you're looking for is starting to shrink. And the other challenge that we face is that years ago the manufacturers went to just-in-time shipping. So people would order it and then they would they would ship it out. Well, now that turned out to be a bad idea because there's no inventory in the pipeline.
I have a 2-month back order for the little ball bearing sliders for the upper rack in my dishwasher. So for the next 2 months, I can't wash glasses in the top of my dishwasher.
Holy shit, time to get a new dishwasher, but can you even do that?
You can't get that either.
Wow, amazing. So I heard that car salesmen, or car dealers, I should say, are only providing 1 key fob anymore. It used to be 2 key fobs. Now it's 1 because of this shortage.
Mm-hmm. Well, the question is how long is this going to take for us to get over this, And
Decades.
The other thing is
it's going to be 2030 before they fix this.
And what's going on with the labor pool? I mean, how many people are, what's going to happen with the labor pool?
Well, the labor pool will be there because people will need work. Whether or not they can actually do any of it is actually a pretty good question. I mean, as far as parts and stuff like that, I mean, now these chip companies are looking to build all their chips domestically, but it's going to take 3 years just to get a factory built, just to get one chip going. So, but the labor is still there.
Well, the reason I say that, because Polestar had an article in it, and we'll put the link in the chat, is that the reopening rigors of the industry contends with a labor shortage and production pricing problems. So, I mean, all of these things are taking place where it's just all around us what's happening, in every aspect of it.
As I've been traveling around on the West Coast and talking to different partners, different production companies, the estimate I'm seeing and just discussing, anywhere between 20 and 30% of the skilled labor that was in this industry in 2019 is not there anymore. They've gone, they found a job at Home Depot or Amazon or wherever, and it's going to be an issue. I mean, there's still technicians and there's still technical talent out there, but it's getting hard, and it's getting hard as these shows start ramping up, even though we're only at 30% capacity right now, to get quality people. And you're having to bring new people in and train them. It's going to take time. We've got a big labor issue, and we're going to be contending with that for the next 6 to 8 months at least, maybe more, maybe all the way through into 2024.
4 of the freelancers I use a lot moved to the Midwest because they opened earlier, they had less restrictions, and primarily the cost of living was way lower than Seattle.
Yeah.
They just left town. They're just like, we're done.
Yeah. So, and to your point about manufacturing, I mean, specifically Barco, there are certain items that we can't even give you a date. We're roughly estimating January 1, but it's based on getting DMD devices. So the stuff that TI makes, the digital micromirror devices for the projectors, some of those TI can't even produce at this point. They're not giving us a time frame when they can produce them. So that's a major issue. And it's, to your point, Jan, it's not just Barco, it's everyone across the line that deals with display devices.
It's not just display devices, speakers.
Oh, yeah.
Meyer sent an email out that they're raising their prices 6%, and you can't expect delivery till January, and they're having problems getting their rare precious metals to make the drivers.
No, we raised our prices a couple of months ago. It was a 9% bump.
The question I'm asking people now is that now that companies have raised their prices, and I'm being generic now, not specific, but that they've raised their prices, is anybody going to lower their prices? Now that you've raised your prices, is who's gonna say, well, yeah, we're gonna decrease our price by 20% because we raised our price by 20% 6 months ago.
You won't drop your MS. It will give you, theoretically, if the cost of goods, and that's the other side of this, right? It's supply and demand. So that semiconductor that used to cost you 3 cents to get a hold of it now in a timely manner may cost you 6 cents. Assuming that we get back down to those prices again, which we probably won't on our core components, it just means I'll have more margin, that if I get a bigger deal coming through, I can give you a better deal, but my MSRP is not going to drop. Absolutely not.
Right. So the question is what's going to happen as far as inflation? Are we about to be hit with a huge inflation gap?
We already are.
And, does anybody are we feeling it? Are you guys feeling? Because here where I am in Thailand, I have no judgment of it because everything is so cheap. The dollar is as strong as it could be. Right as of yesterday, the dollar was 33.9. That's 33 for every $1 I have of US dollars, I get almost 34 of their dollars here, which is amazing. And there are so many values to be had. Like I go to the supermarket and I will buy a head of lettuce and it's only 40 baht. So you divide that by, it's nothing. It's just nothing.
Well,
Milk
that's
is 30 cents. Loaf
the
of
big
bread
indicator
is.
here. I think the big indicator in the U.S. is the price of gasoline, and for those of us that don't have electric cars, we're really feeling that because it's up quite a bit, right?
Yeah. Well, it depends on where you're at. I mean, Ken, down where you're at in LA, when I had to refuel a few weeks ago, and granted, this was by Burbank International, I was paying damn near $6 a gallon. Up here in Sacramento, we're up over $4 a gallon.
Yeah, I was surprised when I was in Vegas a couple of weeks ago that it was up over $4 a gallon also, because it's typically $1 less per gallon in Vegas than in LA, but it was only like 50 cents less in Vegas than in LA.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, that's an indicator of something. That's weird.
Yeah, well, were you in a standard gas station, or were you in one of those high price areas where they rip off all the tourists?
No, I'm not. No, I wasn't. No, I'm at a regular neighborhood gas station. I went to a lot of gas stations, believe me, and the general price was about $4 a gallon for regular, and while in LA it's $4 and change, $4.40 or $4.50 a gallon for a regular.
Yeah.
And so that was Vegas a couple weeks ago. It was really surprising because usually it's in the threes when it's in the fours in LA.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Well, I'll say, guys, we're under $3 still. So
Yeah.
All right, good to hear. Good to hear it.
No, but that's been the talking point, Jan, at least here in the United States. People I talked to for the last couple of months is inflation. And if the administration says that this is temporary on certain items, I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing inflation all the way through down to the grocery store and what I'm paying for a head of lettuce here.
Oh yeah, and by the way, most people that would be inclined to blame it on the current administration.
Well,
You got to blame it on somebody.
Yeah, it's the same old story. You get blamed for it during your time frame, whether it's truly your problem or the good side as well, right? If you had a great economy, typically that comes from the guy before you, or person before you, but you get blamed for it or you get the credit for it. Sucks to be you right now.
Yeah, I mean,
Sucks
basically,
to be in charge, right?
Without getting political, this debt ceiling business is coming up really fast.
They found a solution temporary solution for that, by the way, Jan.
And by the way, that's all bullshit. I hate to say it, but the debt ceiling is an artificial thing that they're doing. Sure. It's already it has nothing to do with more money or whatever. It just has to do, that money's already there. They just have to approve it. That's all there is to it. It's not more money or additional money. That money's already there. They just have to approve.
It's just like the drum set for Macklemore. It's all just for show.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
Anybody on the service end of this been able to raise their rates to keep up with this inflation? I know I haven't.
Yeah.
No, I got an offer for work yesterday that was at the lowest rate I've heard of in a long time.
It's the same thing. I'm doing the same exact show I did 2 years ago, and they want it for 30% less.
And are you able to are you complying with that request?
Sometimes not.
It comes down to what it comes down to is this: when you're a sound company or a production company and you own your own equipment and the equipment is already paid for, well, then your cost is basically in the labor. And if you own all your own gear, then you can cut a deal. And that's why so many of the companies went out and they got vertical from the standpoint where they have the stage, they have the lights, they have the sound, they have the video, and the production crews. And so they could go in and say, hey, we'll cut you a deal. But if you have to sub-rent your gear or you have to buy new gear for the show, then it's a losing proposition for you, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
You have to
the
raise
best
your
way
rates.
to end up with $1 million in the sound business, right?
Yeah. Hey, on that note, guys, it's my wife's birthday today, so I'm going to cut out and we're going to go to dinner. But
Happy birthday!
Good catching up
Happy
with
birthday.
you.
Before you go, Chris, I just want to say congratulations on your new position.
Thanks.
Your new old position. I will talk to you tomorrow. And thank you for joining us today. And
absolutely.
As a matter of fact, I want to thank everybody for joining us. We've been live now for over an hour, and it's been a very interesting conversation, even if I may say so myself. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you had some good a good time today. We're going to do it again next week, and you can come in early and stay late with us as we do. Just remember, everything you heard today is an opinion, so do your own research. But if you want to join us, either DM us on social media, send us an email to soundbroker@gmail, or any way you can, any way at all, talk to a friend that you know, and we will get you an invite so you could be on the panel. And with that in mind, I will just wish you all a very, very, very good week. And before I say goodbye, is there anybody here online that wants to say something to the people online?
Stay healthy.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, that's it. So remember, you make it happen, stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks for joining us, and remember to spread the word. There we go. And Ken, you can now say what we're about to do. We are now off the air. That's right. Off the air.
Yeah. We have that test pattern, just like Mike Cars. We got the test pattern.
That's it.